Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here to, cut through that massive amount of news and pull out the really key stuff, giving you that shortcut to knowing what's actually going on without drowning in it all.
And honestly, if you blinked in the last couple of weeks, you missed some huge shifts. It felt like, I don't know, a whole quarter's worth of AI progress just crammed into maybe 14 days. The
Yeah.
pace isn't just fast anymore. It's almost unsettling.
Absolutely. It really is. So today, our mission is to make sense of that chaos. We're looking at three big connected areas. First, how workplace AI is genuinely changing, moving from just an assistant to something more agentic.
Right, doing things.
Exactly. Second, we'll get into the strategy games, the big money moves between Microsoft, OpenAI, Anthropic. It all connects back to the product power we just mentioned.
hmm
And third, a massive change in how you search for information, how you consume content. Basically, the rise of video as a primary source.
Yeah, and it's crucial to see these aren't just separate news items. The new capabilities in these AI models, they're forcing companies to rethink strategy, and at the same time, they're changing how we even decide what's reliable information.
Yeah.
It's like watching knowledge and power get reapplied across the board in real time.
Okay, let's dive in then. Section 1, the new office battleground. Anthropic's Claude. Wow, they just made a really bold move right into Microsoft's home turf, giving their AI the power to actually do entire projects, not just talk about them.
That's the core of it, yeah. Claude isn't just reading text anymore. It's creating and changing files directly. It's the difference between, say, writing an email about a spreadsheet and actually building the spreadsheet with all the formulas.
We're talking actual file creation, actual editing. So if you're on the Max, Team, or Enterprise plans, Pro should follow soon. They say Claude can make and edit Excel files, PowerPoints, Word docs, even PDFs.
Hmm.
But, and this is important, you often have to go into settings and turn on this experimental feature. It's called Upgraded File Creation and Analysis. It's powerful, but you gotta opt in for now.
Right, it's tucked away a bit, but once you enable it, the efficiency jump is just huge.
Yeah.
We saw examples where someone fed Claude, like a really dense 40-page academic paper or something, on why language models hallucinate, for instance.
Oh, right.
And with just one prompt, one sentence basically, Claude didn't just summarize it. It created a full, properly structured PowerPoint deck outlining the key arguments.
Then that used to be someone's entire afternoon, maybe longer. And then there's the data side. I saw this example. A single prompt told Claude, go find recent stock data for NVIDIA, Microsoft, Apple, right?
Right.
And then make me a multi-tab Excel file, with monthly prices, maybe performance graphs, all sourced and built instantly.
And that's where it moves beyond just automation into what we call agentic work.
Yeah.
Real agency. This file creation also connects to Claude's new research feature, which is interesting because it doesn't just do one quick search.
Right.
It runs multiple searches, kind of building on each other, exploring different angles on a question. It acts more like a methodical human researcher digging into something.
And it's not just hitting the public web, is it? It can pull from internal company data, too, like our own documents. How does that work?
That's really the key for making it useful in the workplace. This internal access comes through two main things. First, there's a Google Workspace integration, so Claude can securely look at your Gmail, calendar, docs.
Oh, okay.
It becomes like an instant assistant. You can pull action items from those long email chains, find meeting notes you forgot about, check your calendar, all without you having to upload anything manually.
That alone sounds transformative if your job involves pulling together info from all over the place. Wow. But you mentioned another feature for internal data, cataloging, using RG, retrieval augmented generation. What does that mean for us practically?
RA is, it's fundamental to how these enterprise AIs work now. Think of it like this. Instead of you finding and uploading one specific long document for Claude to read, Claude, using AirRag, pre-builds this smart index of all your internal documents,
Yeah.
your whole knowledge base. It's like Claude read every single file in your company's digital library and made perfect cross-referenced index cards for every single fact and idea.
So, wait, if I need some piece of info and it's buried in some report from 5 years ago, I don't even remember the file name, Claude can find it just because it searched the concept, not the title.
Exactly. It searches across that whole indexed knowledge, which is incredibly powerful. But that cataloging feature, while amazing, it definitely brings up some serious security thoughts.
Right. What's the potential issue here? If it's indexing everything across the whole company, how do we make sure it respects who's allowed to see what?
That's the tightrope walk. Anthropic is very clear. They state they won't train their main models on this private company data. That's crucial.
Okay.
But When you start mixing your sensitive internal info with external web searches, which that agentic research feature does, the risk of the AI hallucinating, making stuff up, or maybe worse, confusing internal facts with web stuff,
Yeah.
that risk goes way up. So the absolute rule for anyone using this has to be check the citations. Always. Claude provides them. You have to verify the output before you rely on it. No exceptions.
That power versus security trade-off. It's the perfect transition to Section 2. The corporate strategy shifts. Because if Claude is suddenly doing this complex, multi-step office work really well, that's a direct challenge to Microsoft, the current king of the Office suite.
Exactly. Product power forces corporate reaction. And Microsoft, even though they own almost half of OpenAI, 49%, roughly, they're very openly showing they don't want all their eggs in one basket. They're making a big move to buy AI services from OpenAI's main competitor, Anthropic.
Wow, okay, so they're basically hedging their bets, bringing the competition right inside. Microsoft is putting Anthropic's model, specifically Sonnet 4, into Office 365. Word, Excel, PowerPoint, running right alongside the OpenAI models. That's kind of a public statement of diversification.
And the reason seems to be purely about performance for specific Office tasks. Reports are coming out saying Microsoft execs think Sonnet 4 actually does a better job than OpenAI's models on certain things, like complex Excel automation and, maybe surprisingly, making PowerPoint slides that just look better, more polished.
So aesthetics and quality are now key battlegrounds.
That's-
Interesting. And even with billions poured into OpenAI, Microsoft's leadership isn't just stopping there. They signed this non-binding agreement with OpenAI for the next phase.
Right, keeping the partnership public.
But at the same time, the CEO is pushing hard for major internal AI model development for self-sufficiency. It seems they just want the absolute best tool for each job, no matter who makes it or what their past investments look like.
What's really interesting is that push for independence. It's a two-way street. OpenAI is also clearly trying to get some distance from Microsoft's influence. Remember, they used to have to host their models only on Microsoft's Azure cloud.
Ah, right. And we're seeing real moves there. OpenAI is launching a jobs platform. That puts them head-to-head with LinkedIn, which Microsoft owns.
Yep, direct competition.
And maybe the biggest move for independence. They're apparently planning to mass-produce their own AI chips, with Broadcom starting around 2026.
That's a huge step towards controlling their own destiny technologically. This whole situation just underlines a new reality for enterprise AI.
Yeah.
Diversification is essential now. No big tech company wants to be locked into just one AI provider, no matter how close the partnership seemed. They need options. They want options.
All right, let's make a sharp turn now. From the corporate HQs down to, well, us, the consumers. How we find information is changing profoundly, and the new authority seems to be video.
Yeah, this is a really deep cultural and tech shift happening right under our noses. TikTok is acting like a major search engine now, especially for younger folks. There are studies showing something like 86% of Gen Z internet users search on TikTok every week. That's almost catching up to Google's 90%. And total searches on TikTok are apparently up 40% just in the last year.
I keep hearing TikTok search described differently, though. Not just for facts, but as discovery-driven. Like, less about finding one right answer and more about seeing lots of different takes from creators, experts, brands, and kind of forming your own view from that mix.
That's a great way to put it. And that whole discovery vibe, it's actually feeding back into Google itself now through something called Generative Engine Optimization, or GEO. You know those AI overviews Google puts at the top of search results?
Yeah, the summaries.
Well, they're now pulling info from way more places than just websites.
Right.
They're looking at TikToks, Instagram Reels, YouTube videos, even forum threads on Reddit.
Wait, so Google is treating videos, maybe even from random creators, as credible, authoritative answer sources seriously?
That seems to be the direction, yeah. And the tech behind it is getting smarter. The AI isn't just reading the video title or the description anymore. It's trying to actually analyze the video and audio content itself to write those summaries.
Huh.
You see it most clearly with how-to searches, like how to tie a bow tie. You're now way more likely to get an AI overview that points to a video tutorial or maybe even a Reddit discussion instead of just plain text instructions.
Okay, hang on. Let's put a pin in that. We just talked about needing audit trails and verification when Claude mixes internal text with external text, right?
Yeah, critical.
Now, Google's mixing potentially unverified, maybe low-context visual stuff from social media into its supposedly authoritative summaries. Isn't that just asking for hallucinations on a massive public scale?
That is the critical risk here. You've nailed it. Trust is shifting. It's moving away from, say, a single vetted source like an encyclopedia towards this decentralized, community-validated thing. You know, likes, views, comments become the markers of truth.
That's scary.
And the implication for anyone creating content is huge. Old school text SEO, not enough anymore. You have to think about a whole content ecosystem now. Making videos, having good transcripts, using schema markup, making sure your stuff is easy for both Google's AI and TikTok's AI to understand visually and textually.
And the money is following this shift too. TikTok search ads are apparently doing really well, getting like a 2x higher purchase lift compared to campaigns that don't use search. And something like 61% of people searching on TikTok say the results are more likely to make them actually do something.
Yeah, it drives action. And just a quick but important side note, that whole potential U.S. TikTok ban seems resolved for now. The deal got approved by Trump and ByteDance, so the platform is staying available in the U.S. This whole search revolution, this shift in authority, it's continuing full steam ahead.
Okay. Now for our rapid-fire innovation segment. Just quick hits on some of the coolest, maybe weirdest tools and applications popping up that show this crazy acceleration we've been talking about. 4 key areas. Let's start with coding assistance.
Okay, yeah. We saw Warp Launch. It's described as an agentic development environment, aimed at actually shipping code that works.
Yeah.
The really unique thing is it runs multiple AI agents at once. Like one agent is building a new feature, another is simultaneously fixing the automated tests for that feature, and maybe a third is getting the deployment ready. But crucially, it asks for your permission before it actually runs any code. So you stay in control. It tries to automate the whole loop, not just the first draft.
That sounds like control applied to the chaos. Okay, next up, video generation. It's getting faster, way more editable.
Yeah, the focus is on real-time stuff now.
Yeah.
You can tweak a static image on one side of your screen, and the animation generates updates almost instantly on the other side. It's not quite perfect. There's a slight delay, but it's close.
Oh.
But the one I found fascinating, maybe a bit weird, is morphic 3D motion. It lets you set keyframes to kind of warp the video in 3D space.
Yeah.
If you go too crazy with it, the result's also totally bizarre, cursed, as the internet would say. But it shows how easy it's becoming to just manipulate video visually.
Okay, from maybe slightly cursed tech to a real-world story I loved. Sports management. The Oakland Ballers baseball team.
Ah, yes. The team that went full AI manager, they actually let an AI tool manage an entire game. It made all the calls, the starting lineup, when to change pitchers, defensive positioning, everything, and they won the game.
Seriously? Was that just luck? Or did the AI actually manage better?
Well, it's a single game, so
Right.
hard to say definitively. But it's a fascinating test case. AI is really good at things like optimizing pitch counts, playing the statistical matchups based purely on data, taking the emotion out of it. It showed AI can handle these complex, fast-changing situations, not just analyzing text.
That really does show that agentic capability we talked about. Okay, last one for the rapid fire, and let's end with a really important warning. Back to critical thinking.
Yes, this one is vital for everyone listening. Be incredibly careful with AI tools that upscale low-resolution, grainy images. Like those suspect photos you see sometimes.
Yeah.
The AI isn't magically finding lost detail. It's guessing. It's hallucinating the pixels needed to make it look sharp. Researchers tested this. They took the same blurry photo, ran it through 2 different popular upscaling tools, and the sharpened images look like 2 totally different people sometimes. The facial details were just made up differently by each AI. So the lesson is, don't trust that AI-generated sharpness. It's often just fabricated confidence.
That is a fantastic and honestly a really necessary warning for people. Okay, so let's try to wrap our heads around the sheer scope of this. We've gone from personalized AI agents like Claude reading your private work emails to huge corporations like Microsoft completely rejigging their AI strategy, diversifying their bets, and then this fundamental shift in where we get information, how we decide what's credible online, with video taking center stage.
Yeah, and if you tie it all together, the big theme running through this whole deep dive seems to be about the decentralization of trust, doesn't it? On one hand, we're embedding AI deep into private high-context places like Claude using RAG on internal company docs. Trust becomes intensely personal, based on that private data.
Okay.
But at the exact same time, out in public, trust is shifting towards this very social, community-validated visual information, like on TikTok, replacing traditional search. Trust becomes intensely social and maybe less verifiable.
Which leads to the big, maybe uncomfortable question for all of us, right? What does it actually mean for us as individuals when those lines between our private, internal knowledge and that external, maybe viral, maybe unverified discovery are constantly being blurred, mashed up, and synthesized by these ever smarter AI agents?
Exactly. The power to pull information from everywhere your inbox, the official web, some random TikTok, and weave it into a coherent answer. That power is rapidly becoming the power to shape reality for you and for organizations. And dealing with that speed and figuring out how to verify those synthesized realities.
Hmm.
That's the challenge we're all facing now, every day.
That is a huge and, yeah, deeply provocative thought to end on. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.